That's Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to Late Night Man United Therapy. And luckily this time we can be happy, we can be positive because we've won a match. We won 3-0, Liverpool lost. We will talk a little bit about Liverpool Arsenal. We're going to start off by talking about United. Although we beat West Ham 3-0, it wasn't a 3-0 score, and I think 2-1 would be more accurate of the result. It does feel a little bit like a loss with Lisandro Martinez. And there is some rumours going about, and we won't get confirmation until tomorrow or the next day, that Martinez's season is over. Fabrizio Romano has said that it's looking very serious, very bad. Martinez said that Ten Hag said that he's very worried about Martinez and all of that as well. It's not looking good for Lisandro Martinez. We'll get into what Romano's exactly said and what Ten Hag's exactly said. And then we'll get into a leak that's come out, which I'm going to take with a pinch of salt, that Martinez's season's over and he could be out until August. There's a leak suggesting that, but I think that's not true because surely it wouldn't take they wouldn't be able to tell the length of the injury this quickly. It might take a day or two as well. But anyway, I want to dive into news. I want to talk about Liverpool losing, Man United winning. Can Man United push for 5th place? Could there be a gap? Could Spurs or Villa drop off? Could there be a gap for 5th place, which gets you Champions League? I want to talk about Rasmus Hojlund. Rasmus Hojlund sitting down his haters, the West Ham game, chat with you guys, your thought process. You know, we know that the post-match live streams is more chit-chatty than news-based, but there is news-based about Manchester United member of staff returning in the summer, someone that Ineos is looking at, which is quite a surprising name. You won't be expecting this one. We'll get into that in a second. But also just other stuff on Ten Hag's future, and that Ten Hag's unfazed about his future, but there could be something that could massively determine Ten Hag's future, as well as sort of recruitment changes and Manchester City set to battle Man United for Elise. But when Elise scored a winner versus Manchester City, he went mental and celebrated. When he scored a winner against United, he refused to celebrate. And apparently Elise is going to push and fight for his United move and is desperate to join Manchester United as well. So lots to get into, lots to talk about. I do want to talk about Hojlund and some things she said as well, and all of that as well. But the problem is we don't have left back cover either. Otherwise, Shaw could start the left centre back. Yeah, Martinez is gone. Dalot's been doing well at right back. That's the difficult thing. I think what we need in the summer is either Inacio or Branthwaite. Now, Inacio in terms of like for like Martinez cover would be the best option, but Branthwaite in terms of a bench option is probably better for depth. So the way I see it is, let's say Martinez and Todibo are Man United's two centre-backs. Branthwaite can come in for Martinez if he gets injured, but he can come in for Todibo if he gets injured. Whereas if Inacio comes in for Martinez to get injured, he's more like Martinez, but can he really do the Todibo role on the right-hand side? There's sort of those differences as well. But I do think we probably need two centre-back signings as well. Someone said that Garnacho isn't good enough and that he was lucky today, which I think is, the kid is 19, I think is a ridiculous comment to make. The crap that Garnacho gets for a 19-year-old, like look at Ronaldo at 19 and look at Garnacho at 19. I'm not saying that Garnacho is going to end up like Ronaldo, like that's mad. But what I'm saying is I don't think Garnacho is any worse than Ronaldo is at 19. He reminds me a lot of Ronaldo, has some really good promising games, can play on the left, can play on the right, but also, has his rawness, has his weaknesses, has his vulnerabilities, has times where he's a bit wasteful, but I think that's something that's part of being young. So not the biggest fan of the Garnacho hit at the moment. But yeah, I think Garnacho is very, very good. And I might do a video on Garnacho at some point. But let's dive into news. Let's dive into information. Let's dive into all things said. Let me know how you're feeling about the game from earlier as well. What do we need? But I do want to talk about Lisandro Martinez, because this could be a massive, massive blow for Manchester United. We know, look how much we've stepped up a level since Martinez has come back. Look how much we stepped up a level, and if he gets injured again, that's a massive blow. But this is what was said on Lisandro Martinez. It was said, bad news for Manchester United as Erik Ten Hag confirms Lisandro Martinez's injury does not look good. Very bad for him. We wish Leach the best. Erik Ten Hag has normally said, we'll see, we'll assess. Erik Ten Hag, when a player's got injured in the past, even like Mason Mount and Casemiro, and even when players have come off injured in the past, Erik Ten Hag's been relatively positive. But with Martinez, he's saying, look, this isn't good. This is worrying. This could be a big problem. And the interesting and awful thing is, I wouldn't say that Martinez is necessarily injury prone. I think we didn't manage his first injury. But, Safal just went into him heavily on his knee. It's just how unlucky is he? He's just come back from a big injury and someone goes onto his knee like that. And the thing about Martinez is, and one of the reasons we all love Martinez, and one of the reasons Martinez is so liked at United is because he's a warrior. Lisandro Martinez is an absolute warrior at Manchester United. He wants to get on the end of every tackle. He wants to be there. He will not let the ball go in the back of the net. Martinez puts his body on the line for the club. And that's why I love Lisandro Martinez. He puts his absolute body on the line for this club. And unfortunately, it's again resulting in him getting injured. You know, defenders shouldn't have made that kind of tackle. Obviously wasn't on purpose, but he's just come back from a massive injury. And it's looking like it's going to be a massive injury again. And the question is Martinez injury prone, or have we managed his injuries badly and he puts his body on the line and he gets himself into those scenarios? I don't think ultimately he's an injury prone player, but the more and more he gets injured, the more likely he's going to get more injuries. And we definitely need that cover as well. We definitely need that cover. And I'm worried. It's not good. There's not positive signs. There is a rumour going out that he's out to the end of the season, but I think surely they wouldn't be able to tell that now or know that now. But we saw how much better Manchester United were in possession. We saw how much better Manchester United were in build-up, how much better Manchester United were playing the ball around with Martinez in the side. We were moving the ball better. We were so much better in build-up. We were playing the ball better. Everything about Manchester United was so much better. So brilliant. So good with Martinez back in the team in terms of possession, in terms of build-up, in terms of Martinez and Shaw. I was talking about the difference they were making. And for Martinez to potentially be out, that is worrying as well. Some fans are mad, in my opinion. We're a really promising group of young players. 1-2 matches in a row. We should be enjoying these moments. 100%. I feel like losing Martinez feels like a loss, but all in all, I think right now, vibe around United's decent. Garnacho was class. Remember when Kudus sat on the bubble, blowing fence when they beat us at their fake stadium? Garnacho remembers. Garnacho responded. Also, beautiful picture of New Trinity. I agree. Anniversary of Busby Babes as well. Really good. That. And I think the most exciting thing about United this season is just the whole sort of sense of Maino, Hojlund, Garnacho. Maino, Hojlund, Garnacho is definitely the most exciting part of Manchester United this season, the bit that I love as well. Some fans are mad, in my opinion. We're really promising group of young players. 1-2 matches in a row. We should be enjoying these moments. I read that one out. And we can't replace Licha out of the current squad options, or our play will suffer without him. Licha, Shaw, Bruno, Maino and Hojlund are 5 players in this Man United squad that we literally can't replace if something happens to them, which is why it's so important that in summer we get some kind of cover. Obviously, Malassi will be back. Harry Armas will probably come through in about 2 years, probably not next season. Then he's one to watch out for, which might be why they're willing to let go of Alvaro. But we need someone. We need a long-term replacement for Casemiro in the summer. We need 2 centre-backs. We need a backup to Hojlund in the summer, so we don't have to play Rashford at striker if he gets injured. We arguably need 2 right wingers, and then we can look at full-backs depth. Then we can look at, do we need a second midfielder, or do we need someone like an Andre who can sort of do the Maino role potentially if something happened to Maino? Because we've seen how much levels we've gone up since Maino's come back from injury. We've seen the levels go up since Martinez has come back from injury, Shaw's come back from injury, but we've also seen how poor we've been without them and how we've got no one to step up and replace them, and how that massively makes us suffer in terms of the way we play. So 100%. This Man United not mess like Chelsea. Big up Alice, big up chat, big up everybody in the chat, everybody watching as well. When Martinez returns, he'll play 2 games and then get injured. It feels like that all the time. But the first time Man United didn't manage his injuries properly, and that's why Ineos have sat the medical team. I think one of the reasons behind it is because we didn't recognise that his injury hadn't healed properly. And we're like, just go play again. Which is what worries me about Elise, because Crystal Palace are managing his injuries horrifically. But then I don't trust Man United to manage his injuries any better. Elise comes to the United squad and Man United go, oh, sorry, Elise, we're just going to play you injured. Oh, no, the injury's worse. And I feel like we don't learn. We used to play Martial injured. We used to play Rashford injured, and the injuries got worse. And that's something that United need to do. I'd rather us not play a player, even if it makes us weaker for the next game, than risk the player being out any longer. With Martinez, obviously, he was ready to play. He was fit. When I saw Maguire was in the lineup, I thought, okay, it's Martinez dropped, injury precaution, fair enough. It was Varane dropped, who's another injury-prone player. But the Martinez injury isn't United's fault. It is generally that a big, heavy player comes crashing on his knee. It's just unlucky. His problem is his foot, not his knee. Now his problem is his knee. And the best thing is he could walk off the pitch. The worst thing is it looked bad. Ten Hag did not look happy. It's been reported not bad. There are some rumours going about, which I would take with a pinch of salt, that it's very bad. I'm hoping, and fingers crossed, that it's just, it's a sprain. He's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. Nowhere near as bad as we thought. We're relieved. That's happened. Spray nowhere near as bad as we thought. We're relieved, but it is worrying. Maino got a contact injury right at the start of the season. Amad Diallo got a contact injury in pre-season as well. Garnacho got a contact injury at the end of last season, and Martinez has got a contact injury. I guess contact injuries are better than muscular injuries because we were getting muscular injuries early on, but it is worrying because nobody can do what he does as well. Someone says you're a dish. What does it mean I'm a dish? I don't know if that's like an insult or a compliment as well. Scrolling through the chat because I'm a little bit behind on the chat as well. Big up Stephanie in the chat who smashed the likes. Martinez was able to play 5 minutes and was able to walk himself off. So hopefully not too bad, or hopefully just hasn't made it worse as well. This is an impact injury, just bad luck for Martinez this time as well. And I don't know why we saw his foot getting iced on Thursday night. Then he started today was strange. Well, hopefully his foot's okay and it's just a precaution as well. And I don't think we could risk going for Elise, classy but dodgy injuries. The thing is, Elise was never injury prone before the season. He's just been managed badly. I'm going to wait and see what Elise's injuries do between now and the end of the season. Let's say he comes back in 2 weeks and then doesn't get injured between now and the end of the season. It's fine. But if he does get injured again, I'm worried. I do think we need 2 wingers in Elise and Nico Williams, or Elise and Bakayoko, or Elise and Neto. But then Neto's another one. See, this is so annoying because there's so many good players like Pedro Neto and Elise who would take the wings up levels, but they're injury prone. And we've already got a load of other injury prone players. So we have to look at availability. You know, a lot of people don't like Bruno, but Bruno has got availability that is, you just need it in the game. You absolutely need it in the game. Same with Dalot. Obviously, Dalot did get injured for a little bit last season, but players like Bruno, players like Dalot, even Maguire before this season, for the most part, you can rely on them to stay fit. It's just like we don't get a lot of that. Some players just have that luck, and I think something that we need to look at is when we sign a player is players' personality and mentality. Is this player hardworking? Does this player have a good personality? Does this player have a good mentality? Is he going to get his head down? Is this player young, willing to improve, and will he work for a system? Is this player what we need? But then I do think we have to look at injury records. So as much as I like Elise, and as much as I like Pedro Neto, and I think that they would be levels above Anthony, I then also have to go, could this be a problem here? Could this be a potential problem? Because you look at Arsenal, and it's not that I care about Thomas Partey, but they used to be saying that he was better than Rodri and Casemiro. He's not barely played this season because he's been injured, and Arsenal like moving on is a problem. Declan Rice is always available. Declan Rice's availability is immense. Sometimes, you know, you could have a team that can be capable of winning the league, but then you get everyone injured and you can't win the league. Liverpool, you know, went from almost winning the quadruple to not getting in the top 4 the next season because they were just hit with injuries. Manchester United went from 3rd last season, signing a few new players, and then another new players settled in. Hojlund has finally now, and a load of injuries and dropping off. Those are things we need to look at when we sign players' injuries, but we also need to look at Ten Hag's training regime. Can he reduce the injuries with the intensity of his training? You have to look at the medical team, which is being sacked and overhauled by Ratcliffe. There's so many things that you definitely have to look out for. 100% as well, but Martinez's injury was impact, so you can't even say that it's his fault. It was just luck as well, just bad luck, and it's such a shame. It's a bit like Bentancur. Bentancur had that injury, that ACL, and then he comes back, and Matty Cash put in a horrid foul. The one thing I'm going to say about Aston Villa is they are the dirtiest team in the league. Every time I watch Aston Villa, they do some dirty fouls and they get away with a lot. I tell you what, I'm not looking forward to playing them. They are the Atletico Madrids of this league, absolute shitehouses. And the way that Cash injured Bentancur, I have to say, I think Aston Villa are a quality side, but they play to injure you. I'm 100% convinced of it. The way I've seen Aston Villa do some really dodgy tackles as well. So protect Martinez for Aston Villa at all times as well. I worry they're going to target Maino in that game as well. He's too fragile, but that was luck. 41 likes, people. Let's go for 100 likes. We've got nearly 300 watching as well. And just worry, we have been burned going for players just coming off injury so often. That is the big worry. Do we avoid Elise? Garnacho just impressing me so much on top of goals, has increased pressing, stamina, and it's improved so much of late. Do you know what? I was going to say this. I've been so happy with sort of Garnacho in terms of his work rate. So happy in terms of Garnacho's work rate. And the reason I want to say that is you can get young players and they can be good and they can be bags of talent, but sometimes they're not there in the head. Ravel Morrison, even Jesse Lingard for a case, not willing to work hard, get ahead of themselves. And what I noticed with Garnacho is his work rate. It was brilliant today. He does not stop running. He does not stop pressing. He's so determined. Yes, he's young. Yes, things can happen. Yes, he can get distracted. But I'm convinced when I watch Garnacho that his head is in the right place. I'm convinced that his head's in the right place. And that's a massive thing because if your head isn't in the right place as a young player, You can go in all kind of places, but I don't just think Garnacho is a talented player that makes great runs and great play. But I look at Garnacho and I think that is a player that is giving 110%. His work rate has massively improved this season. His pressing. I think Garnacho is a very raw talent. I think decision-making can be questionable, but that is fine. If you're 19 years of age and you're direct, you make an impact, you always look to play forward and you can score, you can assist, you make the team play better, but your decision-making's a bit poor and you have the odd bad game here and now there and you're raw, that's absolutely fine because Ronaldo was like that. But he's got everything in terms of his directness, his pace. He's very good at sort of taking players out wide, stretching the width. His playmaking from the right-hand side is massively improved. I think he's created the third most chances in the Premier League since he's moved to the right-hand side, or fourth most chances. I think the right wing could be the move for him. I think that as he gets older, he might go back to the left wing. But I think when you're a little bit raw and your decision-making can be a bit like a weak point, which is natural at his age, sometimes going on the right wing will simplify his game. I also think teams have also sort of the way teams have set up in the past is they've almost pressed to the sense of they push United to play down the right-hand side because they don't see Antony as a threat. I'm going to actually tweet something from my drafts and I'm going to show you what I mean. And I'm going to show you why I think Garnacho coming back from the right is so important. I'm just going to tweet this. This is in the drafts on my phone, but I want to show you this. And I don't think many people will point it out, and I don't think many people say that. I just got a super chat, big up. Trossard goal of the season title back on, so saying, you know what? Well, you're technically only 2 points behind Liverpool, 3 points behind City, and you're winning the big games against Liverpool and City. So I hate to say it, same, but you might be right. You might be right. The title might be back on, Luke. There might be. Guys, let me know in the chat. I want to just quickly show you something on Garnacho, but do let me know in the chat. Who do you think is going to win the title? I might do a video on my second channel about the title race. Who do you think is going to win it here as well? But let me just show you this. I want to talk about Dalot. I'm going to get back to this comment, so bear with me a sec. I'm going to get back to this comment, but I want to show you this. I think I was just talking about Garnacho, but I think this is another really key thing about Garnacho being on the right-hand side, and this is it. Moving Garnacho to the right wing has significantly enhanced our attacking dynamic. It's no surprise that we're scoring more goals given the threats from both sides. Since the switch to right wing, in 7 games, Garnacho has 4 goals and 1 assist, with 18 chances created, which I think that is the 3rd or 4th most chances created in the league, considering you've got to remember a month ago, only Sheffield United has scored less goals than United. Hear that. A month ago, only Sheffield United scored less goals than United. Now, we're scoring a lot more goals. And I said, moving Garnacho to the right wing has significantly enhanced the attacking dynamics, so it's no surprise we're scoring more goals and given the threat from both sides. Because I noted this, in previous matches, I'd observed opposition teams pressing to force us down the right-hand side as Antony was not perceived as a significant threat to fullbacks. Now that with threats down both wings, our attacking prowess has improved notably. I noticed the way opposition teams pressed us, they pressed us into it being easier for us in build-up to play out to the right. They pressed us so the angles were easier for our players to constantly pass and play down the right-hand side. And teams did that tactically because they knew that Antony was one-footed, he was predictable. Teams like defending against Antony. Teams do not like defending against Garnacho and Rashford. Even if Bruno's on the right, teams don't mind defending against that. When Sancho was on the right, he wasn't particularly good. Teams don't mind defending against that. Garnacho's on the right. He's a bit like Rashford. He's direct. He runs at you. All of a sudden, there's threats down both sides, and all of a sudden United are going to be better in attack because both sides are going to be threatening. Then teams are no longer going to push us down one side because it's weaker, and opposition at fullbacks have a lot more to think about. And that was something that I picked up. Dalot has really improved in my opinion. He played really well today with some important blocks to keep a clean sheet. Rasmus having a go at Garnacho seems to work. He seems to create a lot more. And I want to talk about Dalot because I think Dalot had a very, very good game. I think Dalot had a very underrated game, but I think the last few games, Dalot's really stepped up and improved. I think Dalot has been hit and miss, but I actually think overall this season he has been better than Wan-Bissaka. That last-ditch block, I think his crossing needs to improve. Dalot sort of seen as the attacking right back. Dalot is better in possession than Wan-Bissaka. Dalot can invert in midfield. Dalot is better on the ball in progressing play and general play and dribbling. But what Dalot lacks at is crossing. If Dalot can improve his crossing, there's a very good right back in Dalot. Because I don't think he's defensively as bad as people say. He's not as good as Wan-Bissaka defensively, but he put in some last-ditch tackles today. He put in some last-ditch blocks today. I mean, there's a very good player in Dalot. I think it's just that final ball he needs to improve on. 54 likes, big up people as well. When Garnacho was dropped at the beginning of the season, he worked hard to get back starting games, and that's something Sancho could learn 100%. Garnacho was dropped for 5, 6, 7 games at the start of the season. Garnacho started the last 19 games in a row, more than any other Manchester United attacker. That speaks volumes. Garnacho getting more interceptions and blocks from his pressing, 100%. Garnacho provides a cutting edge. He will improve with his decision-making, 100%. Bruno never gets injured. He learned off Ronaldo well. He looks after himself, never gets injured. He's played so many matches in the last year. The guy's built. I wish we could take whatever Bruno has in him and inject it into every other Manchester United player as well. Garnacho's our best left wing and right wing, but he can actually do a job at right wing, unlike all the other options, 100%. I think the thing is, you've got Garnacho who's the best winger at the moment, and you're thinking, well, who's better, Rashford or Antony? Both not in great form, but one can score goals and one can take on his man. So you're going to put Rashford in. Do you know what I mean as well? The way Martinez really went, more like to be an MCL injury, worst case scenario, 6 to 8 weeks to heal. Hopefully the case. As long as it's not season ending, that should be fine for me. 6 to 8 week injury is better than season out. There is rumours there's going to be a season out, but I think that's people just being negative as well. Garnacho attitude great and should be everyone's attitude, willing to play in any position if asked to do so. The front line is set, need to build our centre-backs in midfield. I think so to an extent. I think we do need wingers and I think we do need depth. I think Hojlund, Garnacho, Rashford is a good front three, but there is no depth to that. I think you add Elise, Nico Williams and a backup striker, all of a sudden you've got great depth. 253 likes, people. Big up everybody in the chat. Thing with Dalot is he matches where he plays out of his mind, but let's hope he can follow up. Yeah, Dalot has good matches. He has not so good matches. He has vulnerabilities, but I think for the most part, he's not someone I'm worried about. There's players like Lindelof who came on the pitch and I thought, I do not miss Lindelof, out. There's players like McTominay who I think could be good as a superstar, but ultimately out. There's players like Antony that's like out. Dalot's one of those where he can be in around the squad the next year or so. He's not a massive problem. He might need an improvement, but we've got bigger things to focus on. That's how I've always felt with Dalot. Dalot is very clear Wan-Bissaka this season. Even defensively, Wan-Bissaka's fallen off. Yeah. I don't know if that could be to do with contract rumours and rumours that Wan-Bissaka's going to be moved out as well. Could his head not be there? I think United want to extend Wan-Bissaka's contract by a year. And then I wouldn't be surprised at all if we look to sort of sell Wan-Bissaka or moving on after his sort of contract expires as well. People are saying Arsenal making big title statement today. Yeah, big title statement for Arsenal, isn't it? Madness, but I do think the title race is going to be interesting. I guess it's better Arsenal one because I don't really want City and Liverpool to the end, but I don't want Arsenal to win it. Arsenal haven't won anything major in so long that it will hit hard on social media if they start winning stuff, won't it, as well? Under 18s are killing it. Future is bright, says Johan. I agree. 70 likes, people. We need at least 2 centre-backs in the summer. I agree. Maguire was a bit dodgy as well. Lucky his mistake didn't cost us. Maguire had a really, really good first half, but then the second half he did become a bit dodgy. I do want to get to the news, though. So it was said that Martinez's injury is looking quite serious. It was said that Manchester United will fight Manchester City to sign Elise in the summer, but Elise seems determined on going to Manchester United. It was said by reluctant Nico that Manchester United are looking at former academy scout and recruit analyst Sam Williams to make a return to a new look transfer team from Ipswich. So someone that's gone with McKenna to Ipswich could be making a return to United on the staff. I thought that Sam Williams did a really good job when he was an academy scout and recruitment analysis. You look at the way the academy is, you look at the young players. Although he's at Ipswich, he went with McKenna. I didn't think he was a problem when he was at United. I thought he did quite well at his job. It was said in regards to the takeover that Erik ten Hag is unfazed by suggestions that he could be sacked, and that result over the next 4 months will decide if Ineos keep him. There's suggestions that actually ten Hag's future depends on what happens these next 4 months, and that Ineos want to give them time because they know the injury situation. But however, it was said that Erik ten Hag's future could hinge on how much money he's given to spend in the summer, as he knows there's a lack of work to do and there's been a lack of consistency in his backing in the transfer window. Ten Hag wants to reshape the squad and wants to have an idea of what he can do in the summer. And then Rasmus Hojlund came and spoke out and said some interesting things as well. Rasmus Hojlund said, on getting 10 goals, it's not over. I'm hungry. I want to continue. I've always believed in myself. I've preserved. I looked at what I could improve. I talked to my teammates. My goal, I think my 2 feet were good. And then he said a celebration was for a friend. And then Erik ten Hag said post-match that they have to work hard every day with the right attitude. They cannot be complacent because if the squad become complacent, it leads to laziness, and laziness leads to poor performance. But he's happy overall with United's result. And ten Hag was asked about the youth at United, and he said the future is promising. The choice we made this summer by bringing in young players and bringing in players from the academy, we want to give them an opportunity. They're progressing. Bravo to them and all the staff involved. And I think that's the biggest positive from United is the youth getting involved this season. And then ten Hag said on Rasmus Hojlund, he's a great player with great potential. He just has to work, develop, progress, but he also needs a stable team. This wasn't the case. Now you see with the automations, we have a better defensive line. So ten Hag full of praise for Martinez as well. Lots of good comments. after the match, which we love to see as well. Leachy healing up improved our play more than anyone else. It's scary if he's out for a while. 100%. Hopefully it's no more than a few weeks. I mean, ideally, hopefully he's not even out longer than a week and he only misses maybe the Villa game. That's the best case scenario. Big up Blurry Face dropping a like in the chat as well. I think Ten Hag should have a say, but director of football should bring in players. 100%. Ten Hag should have a say. Ten Hag should say what kind of player he wants. It's his system, what he wants to do. And we need a director of football that knows football. John Murta doesn't know football. So when Ten Hag describes his style of play to John Murta is going to be thinking, what's a high press? He's going to be thinking like a lot of those things. What's a high press? What, what's this? What's that? Whereas I think with if you get a proper sporting director in, they'll understand Ten Hag's philosophy, what he wants to play, what he wants to do, and hopefully find the best transfers for Ten Hag to do that. I want to talk about Rasmus Hojlund shutting down his haters. You know me, I've been very protective of Rasmus Hojlund and the hate that he's getting. 0 PL goals, 70 million flop, 9 goals in Serie A last season, 4 goals in 4 consecutive PL games, 5 goals in his last 6 games, UCL top scorer in the group stage as well. Hojlund's got 10 goals this season. He's also got 2 assists, 12 goal contributions from Rasmus Hojlund this season. That is more than Nicholas Jackson. That is more than Cody Gakpo. That is more than the likes of Nketiah, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli. That's more than a lot of people. But, all these loudmouths talking about Hojlund, Hojlund this, Hojlund that, Hojlund's a flop, Hojlund this, Hojlund that. Well, I think Hojlund is shutting down his haters. And I think if you didn't see it before, you see it now. It's not even just his goals, his all-round play, the way he dribbles, the way he creates space, the way he links up with his teammates, his attitude, his body language. I think Hojlund is generally the full package. I just think that he needs a team that create for him. He needs to be in a sustainable environment, and Man United in the future need to get the best out of him. I think if Hojlund was at Manchester City, I would have no doubt he would become a top player. At United, there's so many more inconsistencies in developing players, but I think Hojlund has everything he needs to become a top player, and hopefully he reaches that at United. We need a director of football ASAP. Ashworth going to be difficult and dragged out if we can't convince him. Yeah, the thing is, I don't want a De Jong saga going on with Ashworth. If it feels like we can't convince Ashworth and it's not going to happen, let's go for second option. I don't like going for second option, but let's analyse who would be second best. That's the way I look at it. If you don't think you can get Ashworth, try and get someone else. Okay? That's how I look at it. Get this deal done quick. Get this deal wrapped up quick. That's why I was a big fan of the Omar Barada deal, because Man United got it done quick. Man United got it wrapped up quick as well. Hojlund better than Jackson, absolutely. Ashworth the new De Jong. It feels like that, doesn't it, as well? And Hojlund's absolutely rapid. It's mad to think how fast Hojlund is and how good at dribbling Hojlund is for someone of his height, because he's only 6'3", Hojlund's the full package, man. I absolutely love Rasmus Hojlund. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and I think he's the absolute full package at United. For me, Hojlund is looking like the absolute full package, isn't he? Rasmus Hojlund is becoming one of my favourite United players. I had no doubts with Hojlund because he has all the right characteristics to be a top player, says Kaya. 100%. Some people doubt Hojlund, but I think, to be honest, what I noticed was not many Manchester United fans doubted Hojlund. A lot of the people I saw doubting Hojlund and giving Hojlund stick online were obviously sort of rival fans, because I think people that actually watched Hojlund play, anyone that really watched Hojlund play wasn't doubting him, apart from the 1 or 2 idiots about Man United fans who were just negative and saw Garnacho play one bad game and said, oh, yeah, Garnacho's not good enough. Everyone that's watched Hojlund play, I think, knew that there was something there that was good enough and all of that as well. But yeah, I just think he's brilliant. I generally think Hojlund will be brilliant. I absolutely love Rasmus Hojlund. I think he's fantastic. And I'm so happy he plays for my club. I think he's got a crazy high ceiling. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, and I know I'm hyping up a player quite a bit. But sometimes I just look at certain players and I think, this guy, he's going to be good. He's going to be great. Maybe that's me. I just look at him and think, yeah, he's got it. He's got it. And I know I'm waffling a bit. But I am happy. Liverpool losing. Van Dijk had a very poor game. Alisson had a very poor game. Arsenal deserved to win. Arsenal were a lot better than Liverpool today. You've got to give Arsenal credit for that. But Liverpool losing, Manchester United winning, Chelsea losing. If City can lose tomorrow, it's the perfect week. And I can't remember the last time we've had a week where Liverpool, City, Chelsea have all lost. And United, you can look at us and go, you know what? We're in a decent place. We're in a decent place. We can be positive as well. Hojlund's rapid for someone of his height. Yeah. What impressed me most with Hojlund at Atalanta was his link up and unselfishness. Yeah, Hojlund's actually created more for his teammates than his teammates have created for him, and he is the striker. That was a statistic I read the other day. Some idiotic fans are too reactionary as well. Sean Miller's was there as well. It actually is class. He's become Hojlund's biggest fan. I think he looks nothing like Hojlund. That's the thing. But he has become Hojlund's biggest fan. So big up to him for that. But listen, people, this was only ever really going to be a short live stream, sort of talking about the game and diving through a bit of news and stuff as well. Phil Taylor puts a good comment in here. Martinez not had scans results. He was able to walk, so I'm convinced it will be a heavy strain on his ligament where a few fibers are damaged, but no tear. Hopefully fast recovery. Yeah, there's some rumours about Martinez, but he's not had scan results yet. So, and he could walk and he could play on for 5 minutes. So hopefully it's good as well. The only reason I would not go for Dan from Newcastle is if we went to get him in the summer, I would go for Leipzig. Doff, director of football, could be a good signing, says Daniel Hutchinson. I think there's some good people out there if we don't get Dan Ashworth. I think Dan Ashworth would be amazing because of what he's done and how he can change the culture of the club, which is something that's needed at United. But if not possible, I do think there are some other good alternatives out there if Manchester United do not manage to get Dan Ashworth over the line. Is Mount a future replacement for Bruno? No. I think Ten Hag's ultimate plan is to, when Man United are going to be in a game where they're going to be dominating possession and be breaking down a low block, it will be Maino, Mount, Bruno. And Mount will do that Eriksen role and Maino will do the old Casemiro role with Bruno keeping his role. And then I think in other games where Manchester United are going to be going against the Liverpool and the City, Ten Hag will want a DM to come in alongside Maino and Bruno, and then maybe Mount comes on as a sub or shifts out wide. But you look at Liverpool, best midfield three, Curtis Jones, McAllister, Szoboszlai. That still gives them Gravenberch, Endo, Thiago, and Harvey Elliott on the bench. Thiago can come on, bosh. I think Man United need to be in a position where we have a DM, we have Maino, we have Bruno as our best midfield three, and then Mount can be cover for the 10 and the 8 role, and then Casemiro can be cover for the 6 role. And then we get in a good position midfield-wise, because I think that we've got a good midfield three in Casemiro, Maino, Bruno. Ultimately, Casemiro might need to be sort of moved on and replaced in a bit. But I just think it's the depth. I think McTominay coming on was a good sub. It was a smart sub by Ten Hag. He brings physicality. He brings a lot in. But all in all, I think the depth's where we need to improve as well. He'll play Maino, Mount and Bruno like pre-season, potentially, I think. But then he played Casemiro in the Real Madrid game. I think against Liverpool and City, he will want a Casemiro alongside Maino. In other games, he'll want a Mount. It's a shame with Mount because he's had a big setback in his injury as well. And that's a big shame as well. Big up now in the chat. Please do like, guys, if you're new as well. With the intensity of the Premier League and so much time added on, you need 2 or 3 quality options. Yeah, but I think that's something we've noticed this season, more injuries than ever, is with the intensity of the Premier League. Now, arguably more than ever, like that depth is going to be so important as well. Youngsters, Maino 18 and Garnacho 19, Hojlund 21 today did us so proud. On always on emotional day, remembering the darkest day in our history. Very fitting they play. Well, 100%. Do you know what was very amazing? It's that on sort of the anniversary of the Busby Babes, the kids shine, the youngsters shine. And Rasmus Hojlund said that he and the young players at United have a group chat. And there was sort of something that I thought was really interesting that I sort of read up about, is that these young players at Manchester United apparently have an attitude where the old players are looking at them and think that they're almost leading by example. It said that the younger players at United almost have a better attitude than the older players, and that they want the younger players to sort of become the future of United and the future of a new culture, a new look United. And you look at the under-18s, the under-16, how they've actually changed the culture within them, and the under-18s, 16s and under-21s are at their best. You look at the Mainos, the Garnachos, the young players that come through the Hojlunds. Man United are making it clear an attitude change needs to happen, and something that's been interesting is Maino, Garnacho and Hojlund are 3 players that apparently will bat Ten Hag, will always work hard for the manager, give 100%. They are not the problem. They do not cause problems. And the 3 of them talk a lot, apparently, about how they want to get better. There's a group chat for them and a couple of other young players encouraging each other, communicating, giving it all. And I think, that's really good. Maybe United is starting to build a new culture. I think one of the things Ineos needs to do as well as improve us on the pitch is build a new culture, because if there's a good culture at the club, we're going to improve. We're going to get better and better off the pitch. And I like this idea and this sense of being said that, this new sort of look Manchester United is almost being built off the pitch as well, with sort of Hojlund, Maino, Garnacho. And I think on the anniversary of the Busby Babes and how important youth is to United and United's history and all of that, it's definitely an important message and an important thing to build on as our youth as well. 10 likes away from 100 likes, guys. Come on, 300 people watching, 10 likes away from 100 likes. You've got to hit that like button as well. I don't know where Mount plays. He isn't a proper 8 regardless of who we're playing. He he does the most damage in attack. This is what I don't get is Erik ten Hag wants an 8. Eriksen's a 10 that can be moulded into an 8. Mason Mount's a 10 that can be moulded into an 8, but Mason Mount and Eriksen are never natural 8s. And that's what I never got. I get why you want Mount to replace Eriksen, because while Eriksen's great in possession, he doesn't have the ability at possession to cover the ground needed. Mason Mount's ground coverage is something that you massively need in the Premier League intensity, and his work off the ball is something you massively need. But I do think, and I like Mason Mount, and if we'd have got him for a free this summer and his Chelsea contract expired and we got him on a free as a bit of Bruno back up in the summer, I'd be happy with it. But the profile we needed in the summer was a physical player, a 6+8 hybrid. If I was Manchester United right now, I'd go back to summer and I would keep Dean Henderson or Kovar, and I would spend the budget on 3 players. Kim Min-jae, Rasmus Hojlund, and Declan Rice. That is what I'd do. That Kim Min-jae, Rasmus Hojlund, Declan Rice. We were not going to get Harry Kane. Probably Arsenal were going to get Declan Rice as well, but I would spend that. And then this summer, I would get your goalkeeper if Kovar or Henderson does not provide. And then I would get Mason Mount on a free. And then I would look to get a left centre-back. Because Kim Min-jae was 40 million. Kim Min-jae, 40 million. We would have negotiated Hojlund properly. We would have got him for less than 60. But we'll say Kim Min-jae and Hojlund 100 million. Declan Rice, 100 million. That's 200 million. What did we spend? That amount of money on Mount and Onana and bloody... who was the third signing? Mount and Hojlund. I personally, sorry, I'm waffling, would have, I think, Kim Min-jae, Rice, Hojlund would have been a very good summer. I think, and then we could have gone for Mount on a free. I just think I like Mason Mount. I think Mason Mount is a good player, and I can see that he's an upgrade on Eriksen out of position. I can see that Eriksen is aging. We want someone to improve on Eriksen, but I also think we needed a 6/8 hybrid that was physical. But also we needed someone that can retain the ball better in possession. Obviously, Kobbie Mainoo's exceeded expectations. Even in pre-season, we saw Kobbie Mainoo was special, but we're like, oh, we don't know how ready he'll be. We think he'll be ready. We think he'll improve us, but you just don't know because he's so young. I do think that Mason Mount, I could understand us getting him for a free this summer, but I think 55 million on the budget. I'd like Mason Mount. I think he had some promising games, promising moments. Wasn't great, but wasn't awful. I think he was 6 out of 10. I think he will ultimately become a good United player if he can stay fit. I don't think he's going to become a Donny van de Beek or anything, although Ten Hag was playing with someone in Eriksen over him. But I just think he wasn't 100% what we needed. Really wasn't 100% what we needed. Kim Min-jae would have been 60 million if he was going to Prem team. He had a 40 million release clause. But a younger version of Eriksen with legs wasn't needed. We needed a proper 8, 100%. I get why Mount was signed to an extent, but actually he was a 10 being pushed into an 8. We needed a proper 8. I know Gravenberch hasn't hit the ground running at Liverpool, but you look at someone like Gravenberch, would he have been maybe more suited to Ten Hag's system? Or probably because what he did in the past, although we've not really been playing like Ten Hag did at Ajax, obviously. But I think, you looked at Enzo Lafay, Orkun Koku that were linked to United. They could have been more suited to the 8 roles. I think, we just definitely needed more of an 8. I do think Nunez, so I know he hasn't been good at Man City, but would have been more suited to United. Nunez from Wolves hasn't been great at City, but I do think he might have fitted in quite well at United as well. Gravenberch has done well at Liverpool, but he's had good games and he's had not so good games. I think with Gravenberch, he's a bit inconsistent. I think that's because of the lack of minutes of Bayern. He's had some games where I think Gravenberch should look really good for Liverpool, and he's had some games where I think, he's not. I think the thing with Liverpool is they've got Szoboszlai, they've got McAllister, who is class, so Gravenberch is just a little bit behind. But I think Gravenberch will become good at Liverpool because you had Bellingham and Gravenberch, which were the 2 young midfielders that everyone was like, bosh. And then he went to Bayern and he just didn't really hit the ground going. Mason Mount was another number 7 quality. Yeah, I don't understand giving Mason Mount number 7, to be honest, but I think that was a way to try and get fans more excited about the signing like they did with Cavani. But it's that shirt number at the end of the day, so I wasn't going to cry over it or be super bothered over it as well. I see promising Gravenberch. West Ham's Alvarez is good defensively. Do you know who I thought? I don't think Casemiro was bad today. I thought Casemiro was good attacking-wise, but defensively poor. But I looked at Edson Alvarez and I thought, do you know what? Ten Hag, you were at Ajax. You bought us Martinez, which was great. But, Edson Alvarez, I'm surprised. He didn't look at it. Maybe because we signed so many Ajax players, John Mert was like, no more. But I would have taken Koulibaly and I would have taken Edson Alvarez and I'd have taken Yuri Timber over Anthony. Yuri Timber's obviously been injured this season as well. Gravenberch is very good technically, but competition for places and Jones as well. Yeah, 100%. Edson Alvarez, honestly, he was West Ham's best player. I think he was arguably the best midfielder on the pitch today. I know West Ham didn't win. Kudus put Anthony to shame as well. 100%. Ten Hag knows the Ajax players and he brings Anthony in. It's like Anthony has Ten Hag's nudes. Anthony's one of the 2 Ajax players that gets to go to Manchester United, a player that he's willing to break the transfer budget on and then continue to sub on when we're 3-0 up and when he continues to play bad. I'm thinking, what is this Anthony Ten Hag love affair? What is it that it does feel crazy at the moment? It does feel crazy as well. But listen, people, I'm going to wrap up the live show because I didn't want it to be a super long live show. I just want to talk about the match, be positive, all of that. Please do hit the likes. Please do subscribe. When will Ahmad get minutes? Who knows? Ten Hag was saying he sees him as a central player, takes off Hojlund and brings on Anthony. So who knows? But please do hit the likes on the way out. Please do subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.